is the Eisenhower Matrix. This is something that I've been using for a while now, just for a few weeks, and it's been hugely helpful because my main problem with productivity is not so much procrastination. I tend not to procrastinate anymore. I used to a few years ago and it really ruined me. Now, if you put me on a task, I'm very good at doing it, and I think that's helped a lot from years of meditation and so on. But I am shit at prioritizing. And so what this has been able to do is really help me in focusing in on not just waking up and stumbling into stuff, but waking up and having a strategic approach to what needs to be done now, what needs to be done by me, and what can just get off my table, what can get off my plate. So the way that we do this is we look at the Eisenhower Matrix, and that's a 4-quadrant matrix, as you can see here. 2 columns, urgent, not urgent, and then important and not important on the rows. So in important and urgent, those are the things that you do right away. For the things that are not urgent but they are important, you need to schedule them in, because they are really the things which actually make you grow. For example, training 3 times this week. That is not urgent. It doesn't have to be done now, but it is important. And if you don't do it, over time you will degrade as a human being. So those things you plan, you schedule out, and you make that time sacred. Number 3, urgent but not important. Those things are the things that you can delegate, you can outsource, you can try and hire somebody to do for you, because they need to be done, but they're not really important for you to be doing right now. And your time is worth more than money in most cases. Number 4, if it's not urgent and it's not important, eliminate it. Get it off your table. And if that scares you, then maybe move it into delegate. Find someone to do it, assuming that can be the case. But you don't want to be finding yourself spending hours doing stuff that is not urgent and not important at the expense of things that is urgent and important. So how do you implement this Eisenhower Matrix? Well, this is the app that I'm using. It's called Focus Matrix, and it's fantastic. It works for iPhone, Mac, iPad, all that stuff, and it's just a really clean way to do this. It's a simple app. It just gives you that matrix: do, schedule, delegate, and eliminate. And it syncs with iPhone and so on. It's like £4 if you pay for the full sync version, or I've got the free one because I tend not to like to use my phone as something to work on. It's a little bastard and it's fiddly and it's got too many distractions, so I prefer to just leave that out. And when you're working, do your work. When you're not working, don't do your work. So that is Trisha, Rob, Ian. Good morning, guys. Right, so that's what we're using, and then it gives you some nice little breakdowns and stats as well, so you can see over time how much of your time is spent doing things in each quadrant by colour. And that's really helpful, because then you can look at the week as an overview and be like, bloody hell, I am wasting my time. I'm doing loads of stuff that's not urgent, not important, and it's a waste of time. Yes. Oh no, I celebrated too early. I thought the helicopter was going away, but he's just rotating and still hanging above my house. So yeah, give that a try. It's called Focus Matrix. It also synchronizes with an app called Be Focused by the same guys, and that uses the Pomodoro technique, and that is why I have a tomato there, because Pomodoro means tomato in Italian. What that does is it allows you to schedule and set a 25-minute timer, and it goes bing, and it comes up, and then you start working on one thing for 25 minutes with no distractions, just focused on that one thing. Then at the end of the 25 minutes, 5-minute timer, that's a break. Ideally, you should be as close to sleep as possible during that break, so just full shutdown, and then another 25-minute timer. And so the goal is that you increase the number of 25-minute blocks of work that you're doing throughout the day, and even building up to 5 or 6 of these is doing really well, because that's 5 or 6 blocks of total focus on one task. And the Tim Ferriss approach, which is wake up, do 2 hours on the thing which scares you the most. And if you did that every day, you would be such a successful person, because you pick the biggest, hardest project to do in the morning, and you just nail it for 2 hours uninterrupted, and then even if you fuck up the rest of the day, you've already won, because you've already got a big chunk out of the biggest task of the day. So Rob says, the issue I have with the Matrix is the interesting factor. Generally the interesting stuff is in the bottom left, and the boring repetitive stuff is in the top right. Absolutely. It is a tough one, and I think the Pomodoro technique is a good way to to reconcile that. Because then your brain, you can convince your brain, like, well, I'm 25 minutes. I can do it for 25 minutes, even if it is boring and repetitive. And so by giving yourself that short window of time, the chatter in your mind kind of quiets down, and it's like, okay, I can lump it for 25 minutes. That'll do. So yeah, give that a go, guys, and let me know how you get on.